Good evening. This is CTV News for Friday, July 7th. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Denise Douglas. So glad you could join us this evening. A generic drug company is suing Maryland's Attorney General and Health Secretary. The lawsuit stems from Maryland leaders passing a pharmaceutical price gouging law. Karen Campbell joining us now in the studio to explain more about this. And Karen, this law will take effect in October?
That's right. It was passed just recently this month. But, you know, the Association for Accessible Medicines represents drug manufacturers for these generic drugs. And the group says this law is, you know, they quote it as saying an unconstitutional overreach when it comes to Brian Frosch. Now, those who are being financially impacted by this law are saying that these prescription drug prices, they're too high. So they stand by what Brian Frosch is trying to do. So Vincent DeMarco, we met up with him today. He's from Maryland Healthcare for All Coalition. He says pharmaceutical companies should make drugs more affordable.
Democrats and Republicans came together to pass the first law in the country to keep off-patent and generic prescription drug corporations from price gouging and hurting consumers. We're going to make sure that law stays in place to help Marylanders.
Now, Suzanne Schlattman, she's a mom with a 3-year-old son who needs an EpiPen. He has a severe food allergy. She tells me she pays $600 just for one dose, and that's after her deductible.
The full cost of the EpiPen every year, and the last time I went, it was over $600 to fill the EpiPen. And this is something that has been on the market for a very long time. I have peers who have needed EpiPens who I remember they would pay like $20 for an EpiPen. Why should it cost me $600 to have life-saving medication for my son? It doesn't make sense.
And DeMarco is encouraging anyone who thinks they are paying too much for prescription drugs to share their stories. Now, you can visit their website, healthcareforall.com.
Very interesting. Now, Suzanne, the mom that you spoke to, does have insurance. Does her insurance cover any part of this, or does she have to shoulder the whole thing? Yes,
Suzanne tells me that she does have insurance, but her deductible is so high. She has to meet that $3,000 deductible before her insurance can kick in. So she's hoping that, you know, with this new price gouging law, that price for her EpiPen, that $600 that she's paying, will dramatically be reduced.
Yes, I would hope so.
All right, see what
Thank
happens.
you, Karen.
Well, access to mental health care and substance abuse services for Marylanders is getting a big boost, financial boost from Carefirst. The company issuing a more than $500,000 grant to Shepherd Pratt Health System today in Baltimore. That grant will help fund telemedicine treatment services. Senator Ben Cardin was there and says having staff go over to patients to communicate via internet highlights what leaders need to do to improve health care.
That's a plus. That brings down the cost of health care, makes it more affordable, more accessible. A lot of people can't get to a facility. Here, the health care is coming to them. More timely intervention. That's in everyone's interest.
Staff at Mosaic Community Services in Baltimore says funds will help more than 600 people with mental illness.
Well, a 67-year-old pipe breaks gushing water into a Bowie neighborhood. The 12-inch pipe ruptured overnight at the intersection of Chestnut Avenue and Steeplechase Drive. Crews had to shut down the roads in both directions to repair the main. CTV spoke with one resident who says he didn't have water when he woke up this morning.
Tell us what happened this morning. How did you find out what was going on?
I went to flush the toilet, didn't work. By the time I took care of my critters, they were out here and had it shut down.
I heard you mention before that this sort of thing kind of happens all the time.
Yeah, well, this old area, Old Bowie, this is Old Bowie. I mean, literally Old Bowie.
Well, luckily for him, this afternoon water was turned back on for the residents.
Well, Governor Larry Hogan expected to meet with Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh on Monday to discuss ways to reduce homicides in the city. So far this year, there have been 180 murders. Last year, there were 143. The governor says part of the problem is that 60% of those arrested, charged, and prosecuted for gun crimes are released. The mayor agrees the law needs to be, she says, enforced.
It's a problem not with the policing, but with the state's attorney's office and with the court system. And we've got very tough laws, some of the toughest in the country, but we're not enforcing the laws.
The criminal justice system is not enforcing the law in terms of suspending sentences. When somebody commits a crime, they ought to serve the time, and that's not taking place in our state.
And the mayor says after she meets with the governor, more, she says, will be explained.